We put so much emphasis on the end being a bad thing. But when it comes to relationships, I play safe. I choose people that need me so that I can eliminate the factor of them potentially leaving me, because it's just easier to cope with life like that. Yes, I was.
Yeah, see? I know. Because we are the same person. We're mirroring, right?
It's good to prepare for setbacks. It's good to understand the model.
Right.
The predictive model.
Yep.
To as much of a degree as you can. I'm thinking like a scientist now.
That's like a boundary with yourself, right? There's a lot of talk about boundaries and of course, boundaries with others. But I like to really, I think there's this whole other part to boundaries that is really important.
This is perfect material for my memoir.
It really is though, girl.
I'm writing a lot.
This is the Roxanne Show. Get ready. It's time to rise.
I have a lot of questions around brain, right? You are our pocket neuroscientist, which I love.
Pocket neuroscientist.
And gratefully, you are a soul sister to me. And there's so much to talk about the brain, which is it's your forte. But I actually want to start somewhere different.
Ooh,
I know.
I love it.
I want to start with the heart. And I want to ask a question that I ask all of my best friends. And you are certainly, you are a fucking sister. So let's just drop in to that space and then we'll find our way to the brain.
Okay, I'm holding on.
The question. Strap in, people.
Yeah, I'm like a little bit vulnerable at the moment. So am I going to cry?
We might. We both might actually. Right. Okay. As we laugh. No. So the question is just, how is your heart?
You know what? I'm feeling a lot.
Yeah.
It's like a carnival of emotions, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. I spent a lot of last year being really blocked. And I think I was even dissociating through a lot of it.
Okay.
And I feel like lately my heart's been cracked open.
Yeah.
I called you on Sunday and I was like, and as I cracked it open, I remember lying in this rain of memories and emotions and feelings, but I'm inviting them. I'm inviting all of them. And it's something I'm so passionate about because, and talking about, because I always talk about this with my clients, my friends. We have this spectrum of emotions. And on this end is pain. On this end is elation or joy. Yeah. When we close ourselves off to feeling that pain, we shorten the spectrum of what we can feel.
I love that.
And I'm here. I'm restructuring my life a little bit. Like the scaffolding is a little bit all over the place and I'm rejiggling it. So sometimes it feels like I don't have anything to hold on to, but it's part of the process of leveling up.
Totally is.
And I'm in the thick of it.
What would you say, and obviously anything that you don't want to open up to, obviously that please. But when you say that you were blocked last year, what was block? I mean, okay, first of all, you put out an incredible fucking book.
Thank you.
I love this book. Literally, there's a post that's coming out where there's 3 books, in my opinion, that will change people's fucking lives. And yours is one of them. And then the other one is just to say is my best friend and sister, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, Forever Strong. And then Danae Logan and her, it's
Sovereign Love.
Sovereign Love.
Yeah,
yes,
I haven't got it
thank
yet,
you.
but I need to get it.
Yes, let me get it for you. That's a beautiful gift. But it's like it covers all the territory. I feel like people, you just got the post. But your book, you put out your book Rewire, which I love.
Thank you.
And I wonder, I mean, there's a lot that comes with writing a book. First of all, I know as a writer, I'm authoring mine right now, but then there's the marketing and all that stuff that's happening while your life is happening. So I'm wondering, what was happening with the blockage?
Yeah. So I think that a lot of the campaign around the book stifled my creativity because we put a lot of emphasis on numbers and outcomes, and I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know the difference. I'm writing a second book.
Yes. I'm so excited.
And I remember thinking I want something very different for this book. It needs to come more from the heart, less from the potential outcome.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I've got a cough. And I think that blocked me because I blocked myself off to potential rejection,
Yeah.
what people thought. But then I was in a relationship that I think was starting to come to an end. And I think that in an attempt to cope with it, I almost dissociated a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I closed myself off a lot in life because of potential heartbreak.
Mm.
And I built these walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just common. Nobody wants to be heartbroken. Nobody wants to, we were joking, like you can't really schedule that in. Like, oh, let me look at my calendar. When's a good time
to get heartbroken?
to be heartbroken here? Because there's so much to manage and nobody wants to, understandably so, nobody wants to feel that pain. But like you said just a few minutes ago, that when you block yourself off, like you're taking more than you realize away from yourself, right?
I didn't feel anything. I mean, I felt things obviously, but I remember thinking like, I don't have inspiration. I don't enjoy what I'm doing for work.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like the spectrum that I'm in of emotions is very limited. I need to figure out how to get out of here.
How does a neuroscientist because you have so much information. One of the things I love, and this is why years ago I got into neuroscience, is because, when you're striving for excellence in your life, you can't not ignore that part, right? You have to understand neurobiology, like the inner workings of the brain, the mind, hardware, software. It's only going to... it's an advantage. Like it empowers you and it gives you all this really important information because it almost can take the emotional, when you're going through something, whether it's stress or, anything that we don't want to go through, let's just say like stress in the negative, right? Distress. But when you can understand the inner workings of what's actually happening, I feel like it takes away the emotional part and you get more clinical. You're like, oh, mechanistically, this is what's happening, right? So I mean, for a neuroscientist, I just wonder, when you have all that data, all that information, does it help or does it?
Yes. So the way that I personally work is I really let things, I sit with them a lot and I think about them. And, I was talking to my best friend and I was saying, maybe I should have ended the relationship sooner. And she was like, no, she's like, that's what I love about you, is that when you commit, you're in. Like you're going to make sure that you've taken it as far as you can before you make the decision to do X, Y, Z. And so I don't do anything on a whim. And I really trust my intuition to tell me what I need to do. And that's based on your subconscious having this previous information of everything you've ever experienced. And you were talking about heartbreak, and I was talking to a friend on the way here this morning, and I was saying, it's not even that I'm afraid of heartbreak, because I've been heartbroken many a times.
Right.
Since I was a child by my parents.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about heartbreak. That's the least of my concerns. I think it's disrespect. That's what I don't want to be like. I don't want to be subjected to.
Interesting.
And why this ties in is because I understand what heartbreak is. I have the data, and it's still going to hurt whatever I go through, but I have the tools to be able to manage them better.
That part, yeah.
And I can't wait to get into this, because we're going to talk about all of the mechanisms that are going on in the brain. But just to rewind it back a little bit, with the subconscious, you have a memory of everything you've ever experienced in your life, but you can't access it at any given point. You ever had that experience where you smell something and it reminds you of your grandmother, or a memory you had when you were 8 years old, and you're like, I haven't thought about that.
Yep. Chills. Yep.
Literally. And that's there. It's still in there. So the way that I work is I plant the seed, and I know my subconscious is going to cross-reference with everything I know. And when I wake up in the morning, first thing, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and those theta brainwaves are still active, they're communicating what I need to do.
I do. I literally know.
Yeah.
Because I have a relationship with my higher self. My audience, for the most part, knows, but higher self, future self, her name is my muse. And she will literally, it's like wild, Nicole, because at this point I'm so understanding what's happening, but I'm going from theta to alpha, and she speaks to me. Like she literally told me the other morning, I'll just share it, but she's like, and I can hear her voice because I'm with her every morning in meditation, and she said, put the book out, everything falls into place. And I knew what she was talking about. But it's just so special to hear that voice and knowing that that is my soul. That's how I see it. It's like my higher self, seat of the soul. Yeah.
It's everything that you already know that is within you, because we have so much distraction.
Right.
And we then start to get, confused in the noise of everything.
Yeah.
But the answers are there.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it can look like I'm doing things on a whim, or, one of the things that I did a lot with my ex, I would build things up in my head and then I would explode.
Okay.
It's something I need to work on.
Okay. This is good.
I want to two sides of each coin. Like, I'm
totally.
calculated, but I'm also like, an explosive bitch sometimes.
Gemini. No, I want to get into the narratives, the story, because I love talking about that. As a writer, I actually love the metaphors and the frameworks of writing, but it is so true that, and I just want to hear your everything on this. We all have our filters, right? And everything is ultimately, our reality is being run by the narratives, right? And internally. Yeah. So we can get carried away and create fucking stories that, first of all, aren't even true. Yeah. Please.
I was with a client this morning and she says to me, I was like, that's a story. That's a story that you tell yourself. You don't know that that's actually what's going on.
Right.
You're seeing a guy. I'm like, that's the story that you have perpetuated in your mind.
Yes.
We need to change that.
Yeah.
To put you in a place of power again.
Right.
And the stories, they can be good. I like that you say you've got this muse. That's a story. So now you're using that ability to create a narrative for a positive. And the story for me is that I do take my time with thinking about things, and I think a lot. I'm a big thinker.
Yeah.
Like, ideas business-wise, I will plant that seed and I'll sit with them. And then I'll wake up and I'm like, I know what I need to do. Why didn't I think about this like 6 months ago? Work quicker.
God, if we can only, push the fast forward button.
Like, 1.5.
Totally.
I listen to all voice notes like 1.5. People think I'm a psycho. They're like, what? How can you even hear that? I'm like, I hear every single word. Don't you worry your pretty little head. I'm working at 1,000 miles an hour. Like, I'm there already.
I so get you because we're so similar.
I know.
And not to throw it all on the astrology thing, but no, it's the way, even I'm very similar in that way too, where I will feel into something before I need to execute, unless it's instinct and but when it's something that just kind of comes through, like I'm not flimsy for sure. So, and it actually, it helps because when I make a decision, you can finish my sentence, girl.
Yeah.
Because we're like,
if I decide to commit, babes, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm not half-assing it. I don't half-ass anything.
Full ass woman.
And that's what I love about what Caroline said to me. She was like, but that's what I love about you.
Yes.
And it's the reason you are who you are, because you don't half-ass it. And I'm meticulous about who I give my energy to. But when I decide that I'm going to give you my energy, I'm here. I'm available.
Totally.
And it's the reason why I've cultivated such beautiful friendships, because I'm not going to half-ass it. I'm either going to speak to you and be your friend, or I'm not. I'm either going to speak to you and explore a relationship, or I'm not.
Right. I'm right there with you.
And I love the Gemini thing because as a neuroscientist, I'm a Gemini.
Yeah.
And I always speak to myself. But I remember having this meditation where I remember I was going through a really hard time, like one of the lowest points of my life. And I remember being in this yoga class, and I remember seeing like a version of me that was like, I was lying down and she was kind of like looking up and she was going, the coast is clear. You don't have to be afraid of everything all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. So I consult that
Nick
as well.
Yes.
That split personality. I knew you'd love that. I was like, I got to throw it in there. It's like sweet.
That's like an unfair advantage.
Which one you want me to do today?
Too. Yeah, exactly.
I'll wake up dead, might wake up getting head. Who knows? Sorry, that's so rude. I want to cut that out.
I love it. I'm like, Oh no. Well, let me take us back to the stories, the relationship part that you had, you were building up stories. Things were essentially the relationship was you were growing apart, right? There were things happening there. And so that was part of the blockage, right? While the book and everything else. And it was
in
kind
a
of all
whirlwind.
you were in a
well,
whirl.
Yeah,
totally.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But I really want to discuss the separation, the breakup. We were engaged because it's been a wonderful experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a narrative that I want to challenge because, of course, breakups suck.
Yeah, sure.
And some can get nasty.
Mm-hmm.
But, you're always hearing about breakups being so awful, which they're not nice. But this is the first time in my life that I'm experiencing this where I'm like, wow, we're consciously uncoupling.
Yes.
There's a lot of respect.
Yes.
George and I have always been very respectful to one another. We haven't fought ugly to a degree.
Yeah.
We call each other names, none of that.
You just never disrespected each other. Yes.
And so I'm not going to begin disrespecting you now.
Right.
And of course we cross lines and boundaries sometimes, but we've been really good at being able to stay corpus mentis, for lack of a better term, during this period.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
No, I love that you want to open this up because first of all, I think it's important because always pretty much the dominant conversation is breakups suck. It's painful. It's just all in this negative context. Yeah. And I've shared once actually I was guesting on a podcast, but I actually walk through, I also have an experience in my life, one of the greatest loves of my life, who's one of my best friends still to this day. But he's the only man who ever broke up with me. So he's like, and I was not ready. And I want to get into your stuff, but I just want to highlight that I've had an experience where, and I really believe because the respect was there full time throughout the whole relationship.
For you.
Yeah, for both of us. Yeah. So that even when the breakup came, even though it devastated me, I wasn't ready for it. I didn't want it. That respect, that foundation was so strong that it was like, okay, here we are.
Yeah.
And we're just going to have to fucking get through this.
Yeah.
But it really, I think this is the other part that's so important is that I love him more than ever. He loves me more than ever. Yeah, it's not romantic, but because the respect was strong and we were able to navigate it in that way, there was no failure. It went where it was supposed to go.
That's it. We put so much emphasis on the end being a bad thing. So let's unpack some of those, like the qualities that it takes for one to maybe put their ego away. For example, I messaged him a couple of weeks, maybe a month or so ago saying, this is the first time that I think I'm really grieving our relationship. Because up until then, like I'd been okay. And I was like, I feel like at some point I need to feel pain.
Yeah, pain, right.
Yeah. And I did. And I messaged him and he said, I know that it's really hard, but we did the right thing.
Wow.
And my heart was like, yes. And I felt so good. Yeah. But this is where the narratives come in. The narrative could have been, oh, he's over me. Let's latch on. Let's keep that string there, which is what people do in relationships because the ego doesn't want to let go. Whereas for me, I was like, this is the most beautiful response I could have got from this because it's acknowledging that I'm a human that feels things, but it's still the right decision. Yeah. And that's the duality there is that you can still feel a particular way about somebody or something, grieve it, but not want it.
Totally. Absolutely.
And we get those things confused.
Yes.
The liking and the wanting sometimes.
1,000%.
And they're different pathways in the brain as well.
What
you can
they?
Want something, but not like it.
Wait, double click on that, please. That's interesting. Yeah.
Wanting and liking are two different pathways in the brain, meaning that you can override the liking part of something just to attain it. Because dopamine will put you in that state of drive to get it. The obvious explanation or example is drug addiction.
Yeah.
You want it, but you don't like it.
Yeah.
But you do it anyway.
Wow.
And when you understand that there's a separation in those two systems, your life will become a lot easier.
Sure.
Because you start to see that sometimes you want something, but it's not good for you.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, yes. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are like, like, I know this isn't good for me, but I'm still going to text. One thing I love so much, I mean, everything with you, but one thing I captured this a while, like long time ago. I'm like, I love that Nicole, primarily your Instagram, but now, your YouTube as well, which everybody subscribe. It's the fucking shit. But I love that you talk about these things that a lot of neuroscientists, it's just not part of the conversation normally, like the heartbreak, ruminating thoughts, like texting your ex, like all this stuff, it's incredible. And it's so valuable because it says universal, right?
Yeah, we all go through it.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah. So there's two different pathways. Go ahead.
No, you carry on.
No, I was just going to pick us back up because I'm fascinated. So,
well, I was gonna go into that more, but I was actually wanting to take it back to the emotional regulation part because we didn't finish that.
Yes, please.
One of the things that I teach my clients is the tools to understand how to feel in that low. Because you might be listening going, okay, she's telling me I need to feel pain, but I don't want to be there because I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And I called you on Sunday.
I love you.
I kind of wish that had been recorded because I felt you literally pull me out of the ashes and place me back on planet Earth. I was like, okay, I can cope with life.
Well, it's such an honor. I mean, for me to be there for my girls, period, is an honor. It's like we're all bad bitches. And like if someone's calling me, because I know you're in a moment.
Yeah.
And so to be able to hold space for you.
But you don't just hold space. Yeah. It's like you know what journey you need to take me on. And sometimes it's you keep me there.
Yeah.
And other times you're like, she's ready to come up. She just can't see it. And that's what I love about you.
I love you.
You guide me, which is great.
Thank you.
And everyone will have different tools to be in that place. For me, it's maybe calling someone like you.
Yep.
Sometimes it's sitting with it. Sometimes I literally have a cup of tea with Satan. I'm like, let's chat.
I love. Okay, let's hear about this. Can we have a tea with Satan?
I had tea with Satan a couple of months ago. My kitten died, and I remember thinking like, I'm in hell.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of other stuff going on. Breakup,
sure.
It wasn't just that. It was like an amalgamation of everything. And,
right.
And sometimes we think that we need to get out of it straight away.
Yep.
And I'm not saying you need to dwell on it or revel in it. But it's part of it is understanding what this place looks like.
Yep.
And when we build that emotional regulation, it's you're quite literally changing the white matter tracks between the frontal cortex and the limbic system. So now what's happening is you're creating a bridge between the two. So I go down to the ninth circle.
Yep.
I'm like, well, one. Is that allowed? I'll say what's up just in case. It's so British. We always say wagwan.
Love it.
Keep that in?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
shit these days.
Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't even know what you said though.
Wagwan is like wagwan, like what's going on?
Wait, what does that mean?
What's going on? It's Jamaican inspired because we had a lot of Jamaicans come over with the Windrush.
Oh.
So there's a lot of like Jamaican inspiration in London.
Got it.
So Londoners will be like wagwan, what a guan, baby girl.
Oh. Like, I don't even know what you're saying. I'm just like, when you talk, I'm like, I'm like, is that bad? Is that good? I mean, I
don't know. Like, it's culturally okay. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, we'll find out.
Say what's up just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case you decide to edit that out. So I go down and I'm like, what's up?
Yeah.
Like, I'm here.
Yeah.
I know how to get out.
So talk about that. That's massive.
Yeah.
So I see that as like, I know in my language, it's like, I know how to self-soothe, right? Just how to kind of be with myself to get to be there, but then I'll get myself back to, but
step one is knowing that you can get out. See, a lot of people get to that point and they think this is life forever. Right. It's not.
No.
It's a blip in your timeline.
Yep.
In the 80 years that you have on this life, this is a moment.
Yep.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But not everything can be great all the time. I'm going through a huge restructuring in my life right now where, I've said I'm like the scaffolding's a little bit all over the place. And I want to get more into that about, how I want future relationships to look like. But we'll unpack that in a bit. But just back to the emotional regulation is that step number one is knowing that you can get out. Step number two is also visualizing it. when you visualize this ladder or this elevator, as I call it now, I'm like, I know exactly which number I'm pressing.
Yeah, totally.
To get back home. You can help yourself see that you can rise up out of that.
So the knowing part, how did you get to that place? It's sort of like metacognition. It's self-awareness, right? It's how I see it.
Yeah.
But do you think it's as simple as, hey, we're sharing this with you right now so that if maybe you're in this moment, you as our listeners or our viewers, or maybe if you're not there, but it comes around that remember these words, like just, or do you think it takes more? How did it work for you? I mean, obviously, again, neuroscientists, so understanding.
Yeah, understanding the brain has been hugely helpful.
Yeah.
But I've lost my train of thought now. What was I going to say? I was going to say, so everything we know about life is based on an experience. So it's all just data.
Yeah.
You're inputting data into the software. And that's why I say, I can't get my heart broken because it's been broken before. And I know what to do with it.
Love that.
Of course, it will hurt. My heart will break. I'm trying to make a point.
Yeah.
That it's like I know how to get to place B, and I don't get myself in situations where I can get to the point where I'm completely heartbroken because I know the signs before.
Sure.
And I exit a situation before I end up in a point where I'm dating a cocaine addict for 3 years.
Right.
I'm not going to be doing that again.
Right.
Got that t-shirt.
Right. Past that class for sure.
I know the red flags now.
Yeah.
I knew the red flags then. I just chose to ignore them.
That's the like and the want, right?
Yeah.
Or the don't like and the want.
Yeah. And I had no idea about that.
Right.
You see, if I'd had that information, I would have been better equipped at saying, this is not serving me.
Sure. Right.
So 1 is knowing that you can get out. 2 is that visualizing. And then 3 is just practice. It's that evidence. I've done it before. This is the situation I was in. I got out. Evidence. I can do it. Because we like to dwell. We dwell on the negative and we dwell on all the things that we can't do.
Why do we like to do that?
We have a negativity bias.
Okay.
So reframe that. You can and you have. If it's completely new, that might sidetrack you, but you will have the tools from previous experiences. And this is what I love about getting older, is that I have the tools and my brain is cross-referencing previous information with the situation and I'm better equipped at dealing with it.
Right. Yeah. So, okay, step 1, the visualization part. Can you talk about that?
So visualizing yourself being able to get out of that. Maybe you've climbed that ladder. Maybe it's a staircase. Maybe it's the elevator. No, I already said that. Maybe it's the ladder, the same ladder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just, when we visualize, we're putting a narrative to it.
Yes.
I have a ladder that can get me out of here.
Right.
And that's hugely helpful because until you've planted that imagery in your head, you didn't know that was possible until I just said it.
Totally.
And now you're like, oh yeah.
Right.
I can get out of this hell that I'm in.
It almost makes it sensorial, right? Like more sensorial so that you're not just thinking, but you're feeling it.
Yeah.
Right. And that can help maybe just like really move you forward out of that situation emotionally. Yeah. Or inch by inch.
Yeah.
There's a quote in your book that because it feels perfectly suited. Darkness still exists. You just learn to be the light in it. Yeah. I love that. I feel that. Yeah.
Because you can't push away pain.
Right.
Like you said, you don't have time to schedule in heartbreak. Like,
let me pull out my planner.
Let me just check my diary for next week.
February 3rd. I think I can handle it then.
I'll take time off work. It happens. Life happens to you.
Yeah.
So you learn to be the light in it.
Totally.
You learn to adjust and adapt accordingly, knowing that it's just a blip in your life. And then the last component is that physiology. Are you sleeping enough?
Yeah.
Are you hydrating correctly? Totally. Are you smoking? Are you drinking?
Yeah.
Those are all going to impact you. If I'm tired, I'm a little dragon. I'm emotional.
You're so cute.
I want to cry.
I see a little. No, I so deeply appreciate you saying that. That's like the bottom up, right? It's like, because you have to think about we are not just a psychological experience, which I think people forget that we are a physiological experience, right?
Yeah.
So we need to acknowledge that in this holistic sense. So if you aren't, taking the best care of the vessel, that's absolutely going to impact you emotionally,
100%.
Right?
It's going to impact, the inflammation in the system. Your brain's going to prioritize survival. It's not going to think about these higher order conversations that we're having. Like, I can get out of the hole that I'm in. No, because your brain's going to catastrophize and you're going to begin to feel that you live there forever.
Totally.
And I know that feeling because I've been there, and I'm sure most people have, where you think, is this it?
Right.
Yeah. But when you've got the physiology in place, you're giving the hardware component the best chance to allow the software to upgrade.
Totally.
You can't upgrade software on a piece of machinery that is not working.
Right.
How
do we, so you talk about the scaffolding. That's really interesting to me. I want to get into that. Because you're literally in the process right now which is so exciting. It's really exciting.
I know.
Doesn't make it easy.
Oh no,
totally.
It's
right.
I called you Sunday where I was like, just scared. Scared of life, which is very unlike me. I'm not a fearful person. And when I left to come to LA, I didn't want to leave the house.
Yeah.
I was saying to my friend who was staying, she's helping me look after the dogs. I was like, it's just easier if I stay in my little mountain house by myself with my dogs and no one needs to know.
But we knew that wasn't, even just for that reason, you know that it's not the thing to do, right?
Exactly. So when you're faced with the fear, unless there's like a real reason to feel it, like maybe there's a danger on the other side of that, then of course, do not go.
Yeah.
My fear was because I wanted to stay safe. And that's an invitation.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's my other neck going,
no, it's
come.
I love, that was literally a post yesterday. I put fear is just, it's an invitation.
Yeah. And you taught me that. You said it. You were like, is it fear because you feel creepy vibes?
Well, yeah, because that's important, right? It's kind of like, is your instincts, are they telling you like, hey,
something's off? Yeah.
Right. And you're like, no. And you were so clear though.
Yeah,
you're like, no. This is just, I'm just like, there's resistance to wanting to move into the unknown because of the vulnerability factor.
Yeah, because
right?
it's easier to keep my heart closed
than
it is to have it open.
But it's so not you.
I know. And that's why I had to come here.
Yeah.
And I had to explore, because all my work-related stuff got cancelled. So I could have easily have just been like, we'll just podcast online.
Right. Totally.
I could have done all of this online. It wouldn't have had the same experience. But I'm glad I came. And my mindset's already shifted. I'm like, okay.
You shifted fast, girl.
Okay.
Let's be real.
What?
You've shifted fast. I'm like, I've used dancing in my mind, like the vision of the, videos.
I've got the elevator. I told you.
Exactly.
That shit's supersonic. It's like, pew.
No, but it's so, I love that you're here. First of all, I'm excited for you. I'm also excited for all of us.
I'm manifesting. Okay, listen, I'm putting this out into the ether. I'm manifesting spending more time in the US.
Yes.
Whether it's New York or LA, I don't know.
Both.
But you know what? For the last year, it's been calling my name.
Yeah.
And then when I came here last year, I was like, yes, this feels right.
Yeah.
And then I had a talk with some company. I was talking about sponsoring an O1 visa. And I was like, it's all, I can feel myself here for a little bit.
Well, I can feel it too.
Yeah.
And God, you said the word manifest, and that was absolutely coming up in this conversation, just so you know.
Yeah, I manifest sometimes. I tread that line very carefully, but I manifest. Hell yeah.
Well, I think, I don't know what you would say about this, but I think we're always manifesting, because I think it's just kind of how we're creating our reality. But I love that you have a deep intention to want to be here more. And I feel it for you. And I think, what a better place to be at, like you being in this place where it's sort of like everything is up for review, right? Because your life was, it's almost like, correct me if I'm wrong, like just kind of for context, like I feel like it's almost like last year, your life looked like you could see where it was going, right? You were in a relationship, you're engaged, like this is what's happening next, until it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then there's so much impact and things shift from that. And so that's why essentially you're like, wait, where am I? Like happening, which can be so scary. I mean, a lot of people might be in that moment right now, but it's kind of, it's the quote, like when nothing's certain, everything is possible. Right.
Yes. And that's exactly it. It's like, it's a scary time for me, but it's such a wonderful time for self-inquiry and just, I'm excited at the same time. And on the other side of that excitement is also fear, because they balance each other out to some degree, you know, it comes with the uncertainty. They both stem from the same root, anticipation.
Anticipation, which is actually
the
something
core
we
emotion.
really love too, right? Like,
yeah, and anticipation can be anticipating a tax return or anticipate a
we don't
fun
want
relationship.
that. Right.
They're both anticipation.
That's, I love you. I'm like, yeah, we don't love that one. Like,
no, I just got fucked from that one.
most people do.
I'm hoping to get fucked by the other one.
Keeping that in. It's a Roxanne show. I have to. Well, my boots today for you. How did we just go boots at the same time? That's what I'm talking about. It's like, we don't just say soul sister for just to be cute. It's like, it's really
we're mirroring. I can't believe I just said that. I'm so sorry to anyone that's come from like my deep scientific background and be like, what is she here for?
Oh my gosh. That's one of the, okay, I get to say
My
this
sense
about
of humor.
you. Well, it's your whole charisma. It's your energy. It's your, I'm going to say this to like, because this is my show. No, I love that about you. First of all, authenticity. And that's like everything with me, you know, we don't, it doesn't take away from any of that with you. And to me, it adds, you know, I feel like,
and different contexts. Like I wouldn't go on.
No, of course not. Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course. Like, no.
Because it's you.
No, yeah.
Your
but
listeners.
I think that people are like, what the fuck are they? No, I think what I love so much, and neuroscience says, please, but I believe that anytime our emotions come alive, we actually retain information.
Yeah.
Right? That's like a real thing.
Yeah. So we learn through emotions. We learn through caring. We learn through something that is important, which fundamentally, from a neuroscientific standpoint, is norepinephrine and acetylcholine. So if you were to walk out of here and you bump into somebody, and I say to you, Roxy, what time and day did you meet that person last week? You're going to think of emotional, I was at the podcast studio because I was, you know?
Yeah.
Close. Or you need something very important to remind you. Maybe it's somebody you haven't seen in a very long time. You're going to retain that because acetylcholine and norepinephrine are more present because they're saying this is important.
Wow.
Otherwise, everything just becomes part of the background. Your brain's not going to remind you to integrate that memory, to do that. You need to tell it what's important.
Yeah.
Or the situation will say it's important because there's a lot going on there.
Right.
That's the reason why you remember very specific details about very important things and overlook other things.
And that can work against you too, right?
Yeah, because you can put too much importance,
right,
on the negatives.
Salience, yes.
Like, my ex is over me.
Right.
I could have gone down that route and attached importance to that.
Right. Where are you? Where are you now in the scaffolding part? Scaffolding? I don't know if I said.
I feel like I've just pictured myself with like a Bob the Builder hat on, like her tool belt. We need to move that one more to the left. And it's a bunch of like mini Nicks all like dancing on the scaffolding. Sorry, my mind's weird. I've got a very strange mind.
Oh God, if I can make that, I will. AI, just like mini Nicole's like the promo reel. Oh, like so
safety
good.
cap on me.
Wait, laughing is infectious, right? Like people are laughing right now.
I hope so, because oh goodness.
But also we get a dopamine boost from the laughter,
all
right?
The feel good stuff.
Is it?
All of it. Serotonin, oxytocin.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Our brainwaves will be synced right now. We're on a frequency, quite literally. There's a lot of research to show that we are brainwave synchronizing.
That's amazing.
When you're having very deep emotional conversations.
Yeah. That's you really connecting. Like we're on the same wave.
I'm
like,
you and you are me.
Yeah.
Welcome.
It's amazing. Okay, this is really important to me because this really is at the seat of my work too. But I have this whole concept of the self bond, right?
Yeah.
When I say
Yes.
that to you, what does that make you feel? What do you think about? What is the self-bond to you?
I think that I'm so proud of the relationship I've cultivated for myself because it's the reason why I don't get my heart broken, because I know where the boundaries are now. I like myself more than I like maybe somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And that took a long time.
Yeah.
I never used to like myself. I never had a relationship with myself. It's the reason why I ended up in toxic, abusive, desperate relationships.
Yeah.
You know?
How did you get there?
The relationship stuff.
Just with you, the self-bond. Like, how did you get to this place?
Yeah. A lot of time alone.
Yeah.
Time alone. I never used to want to spend time alone. I'd be like, what's up, girls?
Yeah.
Don't want to sit with my own thoughts.
They don't want to.
And let me explain from a neuroscientific standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the default mode network, responsible for internal mind wandering, creativity, the rumination, all of those internal thoughts. They reside within this network called the default mode network. It is active when you're not doing anything, lying in bed late at night. And it's the reason why people who have problems with their thoughts will push them away. And then at the end of the day, they can't. Because you can't switch it off unless you are engaging in an outward task. So central executive network, work, plans, busyness, forward planning, strategy, all of that. They work in tandem. So people keep themselves busy so they don't have to spend time in the default mode network.
Yep.
But it doesn't work like that because you burn out in this place. You can't switch it off at night when you're lying in bed. So you might as well just spend time in it. And the way that I explain it is the default mode network is like a garden. If you tend to that garden and you pull the weeds and you cut the grass and you plant the flowers, it's going to be a place that you don't mind going to. And every now and again, that has a hole down to hell.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, down the rabbit hole. With an elevator.
Yeah.
But if you and if you don't, it's going to be a place that you're going to avoid. So like that's a scary place.
Totally.
It's got too much going on. I don't want to go there.
Yes.
And the only way is through.
Yeah.
You know, you might be in therapy and you might be working with a therapist on gaining the tools on how to work in that default mode network. But that's essentially what therapy does.
Yep.
Is they help you structure the tools and the things that you need to be okay in that place. And I remember learning about the default mode network thinking, I need to befriend myself.
Yes.
I need to be my own best friend.
Your own ride or die.
Yeah.
Language. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I was just talking to a friend last week who was saying, you know, we born alone, we die alone, which I don't completely agree with because I think there are people around you when that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not wrong.
Right.
He's not wrong.
No,
And
yeah.
I was like, yeah.
You're in you until you're out of here.
Yeah.
So,
and you carry yourself through the entire timeline. People come and go, you know, so you might have someone on your deathbed with you,
sure.
but really the one that's been there the longest.
It's you.
It's you.
Yeah. It's like, that's where it's like, I'm like, you're in you until you're out of here. So it's probably a good idea to get into a really strong, loving, revered, like good relationship with yourself.
And I say this on almost every podcast. Forget the longevity hacks. Forget all of that fancy stuff. Can you sit alone with yourself in a room?
Totally. Yeah.
That for me is the key to longevity.
And what's so interesting about that is, and it's not to take away from this idea of we need community, we need people.
No, we do, of course. No, 100%.
But you and I think I said this to you the other day, a friend of mine, we were talking about things and he was giving me a statistic. I don't remember the number, but he was saying it was essentially like people are so lonely. And
sorry, I got the last bit of salt.
Oh yeah. Element, we love you. And I said to him
on camera. Do not put that in. Do not.
It'll be on me.
Yeah, I zoomed in. I'm like, oh. Having a little meltdown in the background. Like, oh my God, they got me right in the cheeks there.
Oh, did it? Oh God, I'm so used to it. I have 2 in my water.
No, I like it.
It's like,
sorry, you were saying. I completely interrupted you.
I'm going to pick it back up just from, I was on a call with a friend the other day and he was saying to me how it was some statistic about how people, there's a lot of people that are reporting to be lonely. And my immediate response was, you know, what I find so interesting is that, yes, I understand that we do need people connection, but I actually believe that a lot of that loneliness is the result of the disconnect that individuals have with themselves.
Yeah.
It really is that. And if you think about society, how we've never really been brought up with this message to go inward and right.
Yeah, we weren't taught the tools.
Right.
You know, you don't even know that you're supposed to be your own friend.
Right.
So you somehow accidentally figure it out because two girls are talking about it on a podcast.
Right.
Like, yeah, maybe I should,
exactly.
you know?
Might be a good idea.
You need to interview a woman called Dr. Emma Sapala.
Okay.
And she studies this very thing. And she's basically concluded that you don't need to have a single person around you to feel connected. You can feel connected to yourself and to nature.
I fully believe that because I feel like that's my life.
Yeah.
Like, I have my friends, but you know, the joke is you're not an introvert. I'm like, well, I'm an ambivert if you have to really.
I agree. I'm the same. Like I do both really well. Like you'd look at me on this podcast and be like, no, she's a social butterfly. And I am.
Yeah.
But I need my time alone. And I'm trying to, as part of my restructuring at the moment, is I live in the mountains by myself with my 2 dogs and my 2 goats.
Yeah.
And I love that. But I'm also really stifled sometimes by the need to be in a place like LA where I'm like, whoa, yeah, let's get it going. You know? But I need both.
It's the harmony factor.
So I need to figure out a way to, you know,
it's already happening. You've already called it in.
Yeah, I have.
It's already happening. And so it is. You're sitting with a witch right now. You know that, right? Like it's already happening on the way. Well, the part of for you, the self bond and building that relationship, do you believe, it's not even believe, I scratch that word. Do you feel, and double clicking on the feel, how is it that this relationship that you've built with yourself, how is that supporting you in your rescaffolding process? Like, even if you can give us a real life experience of, how that shows up for you.
Okay. I had an experience yesterday or today. I like to play safe. So I control things. I don't like to play safe in a lot of things like career and stuff like that. But when it comes to relationships, I play safe. I choose people that need me so that I can eliminate the factor of them potentially leaving me, because it's just easier to cope with life like that.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, that's deep.
No, it's good. Say it again one more time, just so.
I choose men who need me because it eliminates the prospect of them potentially leaving me. I mean, that chance is always going to be there, but it's less.
Sure. Yeah.
So I can just carry on with my life.
Right.
And do what I need to do.
Self-protective mechanism.
It's a self-protective mechanism, which stems from my childhood. My father left me. My stepfather left me.
The stories, the imprint, right?
Yeah.
Like.
So now what I'm doing is I'm actively choosing people that want me.
Yeah.
And that requires a restructuring of how I want someone to show up. So when someone doesn't prioritize me, my initial thought is they don't want to be with me because I'm used to somebody going, whoo, bow down at my feet.
Right.
And so I'm relearning what it takes to be in a relationship with someone that's walking with me, alongside me, in a partnership that will have some level of codependency later.
Yeah.
Healthy.
Sure.
Healthy levels. But not where the bar is like this.
Right.
Tilted. And you know?
Yeah.
And it requires to reassess some things, how they show up, how I integrate them.
Yeah.
The integration process.
Yeah.
Very important because again, like I need to sit with it. And something happened where I was, speaking to someone and I said, I was like, I just need to sit with it.
Yeah.
I need to sleep on this and just have a think about which part of me is responding, so that I'm sure that I'm responding from a place of, I don't think calculated is the right word.
No.
But a better understanding of what I'm doing.
Well, I see that as mastery of self.
Yeah.
That's self-mastery.
Totally. Because I want something different this time around.
Yes.
And
that
requires
also self-love.
Yeah. But it requires viewing things differently, accepting different things.
Which is very uncomfortable.
It's not the worst.
Yeah. No, that's good. Well, probably because you've arrived to this place.
Yeah, because I can see it.
Yes, exactly.
I can see it. I can see what I need to do different.
Yeah.
And so when that initial habituated response, we call them memory templates.
Okay.
So your brain makes a template of what it knows. When that doesn't match the memory template of what I know about love and relationships and connection,
yeah,
I need to assess what's changing here?
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to change? Do they need to change? Does
Yeah.
the situation need to change? And it just requires a bit of thought. And that's how we gain the power, because everyone wants to control the outcome of things. And I'm guilty of this. I did this last week where I was like, trying to hold on to something.
Right.
And it's putting you back in a place of power while being in control. Because I hate that statement where you're like, you can't be in control. You have to accept and trust. Yes.
Yeah.
But we innately want to control as humans, but the thing you can control is yourself.
Totally.
So control that and how you show up and how you feel and where your boundaries are.
Mm-hmm.
What will you accept? What will you not accept?
And that's the self-bond part though,
and
too.
that's the self-bond. So that the rest can fall into place accordingly.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's where I'm at right now, is just restructuring how I see future relationships, not just romantic.
Yep.
Friendships,
of course,
business, all of it.
Right.
Although the romantic is the one that needs more work.
It's a good. Well, that's those pulling the heartstrings like nothing else. I mean, the romantic relationships. And I think it's so beautiful, again, that you're just opening up and sharing all this too, because I think sometimes, I know in my world, I'll put it on me, and it's going to extend over here where I was going, but
I love it.
They see the strong women, they see, mindset, maven, like, and I can do mental jiu-jitsu like a motherfucker, and I do, I work my way through a lot, and I know how to keep myself in the seat of power. I understand, I have the relationship, all that stuff, right? And still, I get into places where I'm like, fuck, I'm getting my ass kicked right now. And this is hard and fuck. And, and I know with you, I imagine, yes, you have the tools, you understand things like most of us don't. And still you have moments where you're like, it's the human, right?
Yeah.
Did we talk about like, can I schedule being a human? Or it wasn't some other friend, but these human moments where you're like, I'm scared. This hurts. Yeah.
It's part of it. It's part of it. You can't always have it together.
Yeah.
And it's the reason why, like, I'm going through a period where I do feel way more emotional than I normally am, but I'm inviting it. The good, the bad, the scaries.
Yes.
It's part of the process. And I think it's how you then integrate later.
Yes.
So I'm learning a lot in this space. And then, like you said, it's an exciting time where I'm reassessing, and it's like a real opportunity for me to shift things around.
Totally.
It doesn't need to be a bad thing, even though it sometimes feels like the walls, the floor's falling out from underneath me.
Yeah.
I had that last weekend. I was with a friend and I was like, oh, all of a sudden just panicked. Like, I was literally like just in the store and it hit me. I was like, the ground is falling away from me. I was in a little vintage shop in the middle of Joshua Tree, and I was like, oh my God.
I'm getting a visual. You're just like on the floor.
I just panicked. I was like, I'm going to die.
Oh no.
I get down on the ground and hold on to like solid ground. And I needed to take a minute.
Yeah.
I sat in the car and I was like, I just need a minute.
Yeah.
It's all going to be okay.
Right.
But it hits you sometimes and you can't stop that.
Okay. I want to pull on a string right there. That was so good. You said it's all going to be okay. This is so, I'm so excited for this opportunity. I have, I say words cast spells. As a writer, as a mystic, I really do believe words are a frequency.
Yeah.
And they impact not only in the audible, but in the inaudible. So it's the dialogue and the things that you're saying to yourself. And in that moment right there that you just gave an example of, I mean, that was a very loving, soothing message to self. Did you say it out loud or was it?
Yeah. So I'm working with a new coach.
Okay.
Oh God, he hit me right in the feels. And he said something like, I said, I sometimes have this fear of going out running because I'm scared of being too far away from home.
Mm.
And he said, it's because you're not sure that you are your own source of love and safety.
Wow.
I was like, you piece of shit.
Yeah. He just
said that.
Did a little Yoda.
Yeah. But I love that he said that. And he was like, I would not normally go this deep so quickly with a new client.
But you can go there.
He's like, you can handle it.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I remember repeating that to myself, like,
wow.
You are your own source of love and safety.
Absolutely.
You are your own source of love and safety. You're your own source of love and safety.
Yeah.
And just regaining control of the situation whilst also accepting that sometimes things are a little bit out of control.
Yeah.
The scaffolding is all over the place. I'm a bit like, There's no solid thing to hold on to. I want to hold on to this mic, but it's going to pull over if I do.
Yeah. And it's not supposed to be solid right now. That's the point for you.
Exactly. That's the whole point, is that I'm changing it.
Yes.
So it's great. It's a great opportunity. I get to choose where the pieces go.
Totally.
But within that, there's also this uncertainty.
Right. You got to hold on.
Yeah.
Well, can you talk about the science behind words and like just what's actually, because I really believe, and I guide when I mentor women, that don't even just keep it inside. Say it out loud to yourself, because you can, it feels, I know in my own experience, like hand over heart, I speak to myself. It's almost as if you're getting that external love from somebody that you crave that would be soothing you, but it's actually even more powerful because I can feel it coming from me and I can hear it coming from me.
Because that's the obvious thing, is you want, and I do reach out to my friends, obviously,
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, it's finding that within you. So just to bring it to the neuroscience, when you put a narrative or a story to a feeling, you're engaging a very small part of the ventral medial prefrontal cortex.
Okay.
So what that does is it needs to generate words. You need to think about what you're feeling, because sometimes you feel something and you don't know how to put it into words.
Yeah.
As soon as you try, you actually switch off that limbic system, not switch off, but you quieten that limbic system.
Right.
And you're re-engaging a very small part of the brain that is saying, let's think about this.
Yeah.
And you're bookmarking it. This is how I feel.
Yep.
Okay. And when you're in that default mode setting, that network, thoughts are spontaneous. They have no beginning, they have no end.
Yes.
And you'll know that loop where you don't really know what's going on, but you feel a particular way, and it can spiral, and it can feel like you're falling down the abyss, down the
like
rabbit
you
hole.
are the Joshua tree.
Felt like the ground just went boom. And it was so sudden as well. But I think, to be fair, my friend was like, I think you've had too much sugar. And I was like, shut up. Because my mind state is not in the best place. It's not in the bad place.
Right.
It's going through this change.
Right.
So the physiology
so real
was the pillar that went.
Yep. Wow. Totally.
And it's gaining the awareness of all of these things. You can start to see that you're a lot more in control.
Yes.
Okay, you had too much sugar, so therefore your limbic system got activated. So then everything felt panicked. Take a second, breathe. You are your own source of love and safety. Let the sugar crash go.
Totally.
You're fine.
Right.
You're fine.
I love it.
So
just that part of the brain, is that also what's happening when you write, like journaling?
Yes.
Yes. That
Exactly.
makes so much sense.
So you have to generate a specific sentence. It's the reason why music can be so helpful as well.
Yes.
I was listening to the song by Benson Boone. It's called Ghost Town.
Oh, okay.
And he starts the song with, I took too much and you left me.
Oh.
And I was like, that's my relationship. And it basically describes my entire breakup.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, like I've got a story
to
the breakup now.
And now that song is always going to associate with your breakup too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it can work.
With it.
Yeah. No, totally. It's just a cool connection with music, because music is my love. I mean, both of us. Yes.
And so, music does that to us. It puts a narrative to what you're feeling. And it's the reason why when you're going through a breakup or a sad time, listening to sad music helps, because you're like, oh,
yes,
I know how I feel now.
Right.
I resonate with that.
Right.
You're attaching yourself to something that exists. You're snapping yourself out of that default mode type thinking.
So interesting.
Yeah.
That's so helpful.
Yeah.
Just that's what I'm saying about, like, just to understand what's actually happening. I think it just empowers individuals because there's context. I'm like, oh, this is because of this, not just it's just me or what's happening, and all those thoughts that can make you feel even more out of control. And like, this is it. Am I ever going to be able to get out of this? How do I get out of this? So no, I love that. All of it. Obviously the geek in me gets so just activated. I was going to just give you one more tool, which is just, I was breathing a lot, so when you're in a state of panic, the floor in the vintage shop is just disappearing. Miraculously, your brain is perceiving threat. And you can't reason with that part of the brain, because if you were in evolutionary times, you're not going to be like, let's just figure out why there's a lion. Right.
No, you're going to run.
Yeah.
Or fight it.
Right.
Hopefully you run.
Yeah.
You ain't going to win. And so once the lion has been removed, or once you're away from it, then the body goes, okay, it's been removed. Now we can relax. So the threat needs to have been removed from the environment. We live in a time where there are emails, financial stresses, all kinds of things that can keep us in a state of there's still a threat. So your body needs to communicate with your brain from a bottom-up regulatory process that says the threat has been removed. We can't top-down control it and try and make sense of it in that moment.
Right.
That comes later.
Yes.
So you breathe. You do something that grounds you, whatever. But the breathing is the best way to reinstate that kind of top-down regulation, not top-down, that frontal cortex activity. I'll say that again in case you edited it in. But the breathing is going to be the quickest way to reinstate that frontal cortex activity that says threat has been removed. What do we now do with it? See, this is me, and I've done this in my own time as well, but this is helping as well, retrospectively understanding that scenario. I panicked because my life is going through a shift. I had too much sugar. I was in an unknown place, far away from home. Panic.
Totally.
Okay, what do we do? I need to sit in the car. I need a minute. I need to breathe. I am my own source of love and safety. Reinstill some control. And regain perspective of the situation. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? But you do that after, not when you're in that state of panic.
Totally.
Otherwise you catastrophize.
That makes so much sense. I love it. It's the whole body coming in to support the experience, right?
Yeah, because you want to validate it. That's the thing. You don't want to push these emotions away and pretend like they don't exist. You're accepting them. I felt this because I am a human that has a range of spectrum of emotions where I can feel all the way from here to here. And somewhere in between, the fall disappears in Joshua Tree. Did I say fall? I said the floor disappears.
No, totally. And I think, well, again, what comes to my mind is just that's mastery. I think we have all of our emotions for a reason. Right. And I believe that it comes down to what's your relationship with the emotions, and how do you work with them? Do they manage you, or are you managing them? Right. Because I think a lot of emotions are also wisdom doors. Right?
Yes, totally. And the thing that I kept saying to my friend Lauren, who's also works with me, she was like, "Just, it's material."
That's what
And you say that too. It's material for your memoir.
It really is.
You were like, Nicole, you are a writer. Go to Joshua Tree.
No, seriously.
Stay in Joshua Tree by yourself.
Well, because I think about you're even just in this rescaffolding.
I love that. You see, that narrative's really helped me as well.
Totally.
Because I've put this narrative to what I'm going through, and I was like, yeah, that helps.
Well, and I love it because it's you can visually see it's like, oh, we're moving up. We're moving up. And also there's newness, there's freshness in that. Like, we're building something. What I was going to say about the material connection is I love it because this is all material for not just your own experience, but you're a creator. So what's going to come from you that is going to be, because you're a creator and you are such a contributor. I mean, you really help people's lives. Like straight up. I love you. Like, just your presence alone is just a gift, truly. But Nicole, you put so much out there that's so fucking valuable. I mean that with my whole heart. And I also know, as someone who is a content creator, I'm a writer, like, it's not easy to do all of it, and to do it at such a high level, to do it with so much heart and integrity the way that you do it.
Thank you.
So what's going to come from your personal experience, I'm really excited about, because I know that, it's like your wisdom is expanding here, and that's going to come through in, the next book or everything else that is coming.
Totally. And I'm already thinking about how I can help people when they're going through that experience, because I haven't had something like this in a long time. I haven't re-scaffolded in a very long time. The last time I did that, I was about 26 years old. And I remember, I didn't know it at the time, but I was really re-scaffolding. I mean, I actually just think I built the entire foundation.
Actually,
I just built the whole house. But, in Rewire, I talk a lot about emotional expression, getting it out. When you look at George Michael, who lost his boyfriend at the time, his mother to cancer, he wrote Older,
which is my girl. Did you just say Older right now?
A masterpiece.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I
I did.
love you so much. No, people don't know about Older.
No,
I mean,
I
a lot
know.
of people don't, you know.
No, they don't know about Older because
But-
he came out with his sexuality to the world, and he was, you hear that album and you're like, this man is unapologetic.
He's incredible. That album is a fabric. It's a piece of my life. Like, it's interesting that you bring that up. That album is like chapters.
He scaffolded.
Yeah, he sure
He
did.
built the entire house.
Wow.
And you know, he poured himself out on that album where he let it all out. And what I love the most about that album is that even in the pain, he's talking about wanting he misses his lover so much. Am I right?
Yeah.
That he's going out and like looking for it with other people in clubs, but it's a happy song.
Yeah.
And the lyrics are so depressing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you don't know the song, you'd think it's a happy song. But what I love is that he's blended all of the emotions, because there's not just pain. Of course, losing someone like that, you know, to AIDS was horrible.
Yeah.
And then his mother as well to cancer. But there's also joyful songs in there that show that you can feel the spectrum of emotions, even whilst one is more pertinent.
Well, we can't have one without the other, right?
Exactly.
Like, that's why I love that quote too about darkness. But, you know, there is light. Like, we can't, I mean, it's kind of like the laws of the universe, how I see it. Chaos and harmony, you know, I think it comes down to, and that's part of the human journey. And hopefully if you're someone who, I mean, I know if you're watching, you know, and listening to my show, then you likely are someone who's really interested in the self-actualization part, right? This is part of the journey, is like, what is my experience with all of this experience? And in that, the emotions, and because if you try to avoid, right? Like, sort of full circle, if you try to avoid, you are only blocking off. First of all, it's not going to save you. Let's just say that. Like, you can try and avoid the pain and the discomfort, and you think that you're saving yourself, but you're not. I think you're actually running yourself into a harder direction, because we're here to experience the whole gamut, right? The whole thing.
Right?
Right.
And, you know, I love that because we had this conversation, and my friend Emma, I called her and I was talking to her about something and relationship related, and she was like, you're breaking your own heart twice. You're already breaking your heart before it comes to an end, because you're putting an emphasis on what could go wrong.
That's
like, just
so
wait
incredible.
until it actually happens. And then it only happens once.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
You're breaking your heart twice. That's so good.
Yeah.
It's very poetically beautiful.
It's so great.
Yeah.
And, you know, now I'm using it with my clients, and I'm like, you're breaking your own heart.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I am. I am. For what? And I'm like, yeah, because that part of the brain that wants to, and, you know, I'm very like, maybe this is something I need to work on, because I do have slight control issues with the variables. I'm like, I want to control everything so that I can figure out what the outcome is going to be. Even if it's bad, I'm like, it's good. At least I knew what it was. It's my trust issues. I need to sort out that. What was I saying?
The brain, you're saying the lines between the lines are the best part, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I know.
So good. No, but you were saying, you know, the break in the heart part, you say that to your client, like, you were about to neuroscience. I felt it coming. I think you were about to neuroscience the part, because we are.
Yes, I was.
Yeah,
Yes,
I know. Because we are the same person. We're mirroring, right?
It's good to prepare for setbacks. It's good to understand the model.
Right.
The predictive model.
Yep.
To as much of a degree as you can. I'm thinking like a scientist now. You can't control the outcome.
Yeah.
You can control the variables that go in.
Yep.
You know, and I think that getting engaged and buying a house with somebody was a true testament to how you really can't control the outcome.
Yeah.
You know, because you can predict the model as far as you think it can go. Marriage, children.
Yeah.
But you still don't really know if there's going to be an anomaly coming in and changing the entire model into something else, which is what happened.
Right.
And so we can try and control the variables as much as possible and understand the potential setbacks of what would happen if things went wrong, whilst also keeping a logical mind state. So you're empowering yourself by saying, okay, this could happen.
Right.
But I'm going to choose to live here.
Yeah.
Otherwise you just end up ruminating.
That's so much
and
mastery.
You're living there, but in a negative space.
Right. And that's hard, though. That's hard to have control in that scenario, where you're actually looking at scenarios that you don't want to happen, right? Because that produces emotions, right? Like obviously fear but then to say, well, we're just looking at this. We're not saying that this is a thing. So let's not create an emotional relationship with the visual, the story, but let's just understand the environment more so because in just knowing that that's a possibility, it almost makes you more, it's the awareness part, right? You're more equipped. So you're not sucker punched.
You're removing that emotional friction because you're prepared that could happen.
Yep.
And you should be prepared in the sense that things could not go the way you want to.
Right.
And that's life.
That's life. Right. And what do you think about this statement? Not want to, but still serving you, even if you don't know it in that moment.
Give me
potentially. So it's like, I live with this idea that it's always working out for me. And I understand that I feel like it's
called pronoia.
What is it called?
Pronoia.
Pronoia. Oh, instead of paranoia?
The world is conspiring in your favor.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because I feel like it's ignorant, my language, to think that, oh, I'm just going to be able to see and understand it all. No, I'm going to trust that as long as I'm showing up the way that I am in my life, which is, authenticity, integrity, like it's full time, like it's activated. And, my agenda, my intentions, they're healthy.
You're controlling those variables.
Yes.
You can't control the outcome.
Can't control the outcome.
You can control the variables.
Trusting that because these variables that I'm controlling the way I'm controlling them, that even if something seems like, oh, I got rejected or, oh, that didn't happen or whatever, it's still, and I think about this as a writer, it's like, I just zoom out and go, it's not the whole story. You can't see the whole story yet, so you just have to trust what you can't see. I know this takes us out of the science kind of.
No, but then what you're doing is that you're trusting that there's going to be an outcome. And if there isn't the outcome that you wanted, you readjust like any scientist does when they fail.
Yes.
They don't go, oh, that was a failure, I'm a bust.
Right.
You adjust the model.
Yes.
And you go, okay, what do we do next?
Yes.
So we can continue to explore this.
Do you feel like you're applying any of this to your rescaffolding?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
It's you can't control the outcome.
Yeah.
Like if I fancy somebody, all I can do is show up for myself.
Yeah.
Learn about them, whatever. But putting emphasis, this is what people do. I work with so many people, clients who, oh, but what if, and I want it to go this way. And I'm like, you're forgetting to live in this moment. That's actually quite joyful.
Yeah.
And you only get for the first 18 months of a relationship and then it's gone.
Yeah.
Then you need to reinstill that spark because I'm telling you.
Flies away.
Exactly.
Bye.
So you're breaking your own heart
by
putting emphasis on an outcome that you can't control.
Right.
So just enjoy everything that you can in this moment because the model that you are predicting, you don't have enough data to know where it's going.
Totally. Yes.
You can only predict a model when you have input.
Yes.
Like you've been together for 5 years, so now you can predict you're going to get married and have
Sure,
kids.
you have the information.
Yeah,
right.
But that requires time. In the beginning stages, you haven't got any of that. You're learning.
Yeah.
And we're already putting emphasis on this potential outcome. You're predicting, you're relying on a predictive model that you don't understand.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous.
It's
Because
totally
it pulls
dangerous.
away from the time you have.
Yeah, you become your own threat, like a threat to yourself in a way.
You break your own heart.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So like
We've come full circle.
Like,
God, look at that.
What are you letting go of to make space for you?
What am I letting go of?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely trying to trust more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trust people.
Okay.
Men.
Yeah.
I have a lot of trust issues when it comes to men.
Yeah.
Trying to trust the process. No, I trust the process. I do trust the process. I'm trying to trust the outcomes more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else am I letting go of? I'm pretty good. I mean, I need to figure out some business stuff.
Yeah.
A
Mm-hmm.
business last year that killed me financially. I lost so much money.
It's not the whole story,
Exactly.
right?
You know,
There's
and then
so
when
much coming.
I
Yeah.
know. So that is concluding now.
Yeah.
So I'm shedding that. And I think when that's
Yep.
lock that key, I'm chucking that thing away and I'm never going there again.
Totally.
I'll use the information that I have from that to not ever apply that to my life ever again.
Right. Yeah.
But that will alleviate a lot of pressure from my shoulders, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've got that going on at the moment, but that's coming to an end now.
Are you able to give us no worries if not, but like a little sneak idea about what the next book might be about? It's okay if you can't.
Yeah, I think I can. I'll give you some vague.
Yeah.
Do you know what? No, I am going to. We're going to talk about it because I want you to read that poem.
Okay. Yeah.
The fucks one.
Oh.
Can we?
The prose? Yeah. Yeah.
So it's all about being intentional with your energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether you apply, and it goes back, we've come full circle again. When I choose to invest time in somebody, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm giving a fuck.
Yes.
And I love that poem that you wrote because it's about giving a fuck in the right places.
Right.
And making sure that you're allocating your fucks accordingly.
That's like literally, I mean.
It's the only way I can describe it is like, you've got these fucks. You should give them.
Yep.
Where are you giving them? To who are you giving them to?
Yeah.
And I love that.
Thank you.
So it's about, the next book is about, I'm not going to use the word fuck in my book.
Yeah. I mean, why not? No.
I might feature the poem.
Yeah.
But it's about being intentional with everything you do because we consume.
You're right.
You know,
right.
Endless scrolling.
Yeah.
Endless clutching at something to make you feel better.
Right.
You know, where are you investing your energy and where could you be investing your energy?
Yes.
I don't have an issue with social media. Scroll away. I have a great time. I go down a meme hole sometimes. And my friends know when I'm there. They're like, you're in that cycle. I'm like, hell yeah, I am. Yeehaw. And it's about being intentional.
Yes.
Did you choose to be here?
Yeah.
Are you having a good time? Or are you fighting with yourself because you can't get off? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, slap yourself, get off your phone if you don't want to be there.
Right.
Be intentional with everything you do. Show up more presently.
Yeah.
Allocate energy to the right things so you can work on your goals.
Totally.
You know, we spend so much time or energy wasting on other things. And then it comes to you wanting to play guitar. I posted myself playing guitar yesterday.
I love it.
Yeah, no, it's like, it's a lot. But so many people were like, how did you find the time? And I'm like, I didn't find the time. I made the time.
Yes.
I got the guitar in the car.
Yeah. You just make it work.
It's in the car.
Yeah.
I'm going to play it later.
Yeah.
Between clients.
Yeah. Well, I believe values play a big role in that, right? Like, because values really anchor us and our decisions are affected by our values, right?
Yeah.
If you value something, you're going to make time for it.
Well, exactly.
Right? You're going to make the space for it.
You find time. So yeah, it's just all about, you know, why we waste energy on arguing with ourselves or turmoiling with the decision we've made. You've made the decision.
Love it.
Stick to it.
Yeah.
You can't change it.
Right.
You know, I remember talking to my best friend about it because I sent a risky text once.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
And I was like, you can't now second guess it. You've done it.
Right.
Live with the decision. You've done it now.
What did she say?
No, it sent me down a wonderful trajectory.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's it. It's like every decision. I got rejected from medical school. That's you know, instead of turmoiling, I could dwell on it and let it ruin my entire life. Oh, I didn't get into medical school.
Right.
Or you divert and you go, okay, I'm going to change where I'm putting this energy.
Yeah.
Because I was disappointed for a long time because there was this story. I told myself, you're going to be a doctor.
Yeah.
I didn't say you're going to do great things and you're going to help people. I got fixated on one particular aspect of what I thought I wanted to do.
That's so powerful, Nicole.
And it put me in a trajectory where I ended up breaking my own heart because I didn't get what I wanted because I put too much emphasis on the wrong thing.
Well, because it wasn't even a real want. It was like a pseudo want. It was, right? Because it wasn't authentically
Yeah.
Right.
And the realization I came to recently was that I would have been good at anything.
Yes.
Anything.
Mm-hmm.
I could have been an astronaut. I could have been a physicist. I could have been a hairstylist.
Yeah.
And I would have been good at it all because I have the drive and I have the fucks to give.
Yes.
And I give the fucks in the right places.
Yes. You assign the geography of your fucks appropriately.
Yeah.
That's the pros. Like, that's,
It is who I am. I go all in. I don't half-ass anything. So it didn't have to be neuroscience. It would have been anything and I would have been good at it. And I started playing the guitar a year ago because there were so many people that were saying, oh, like I'm a bit older. And like, we always think that we can't start new things. And like, I will never be a musician. But I can play the guitar and sing to myself and my friends now. Yeah, and I wanted to prove that you can do it. And it took me a year to do that.
That's so
I'm not
amazing.
Great, but it doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter. That's not,
and that's the other thing. People put too much emphasis on wanting to be great. I was at Top Golf 2 nights ago. And there was a guy there who was a golfer and his swing was incredible. I beat him. I beat everyone. I won. I fucking won.
Really?
Why? Because I'm consistent. I aimed for the same thing every time.
Yep.
They were all trying to do these crazy shots and I get it there and aimed. I was like, same thing like clockwork and I won.
You just dialed in.
That's how you win.
Yes.
Consistency.
Oh my gosh. Speaking my language.
I'm consistent. I do the same thing at the gym day in, day out. The program's the same. I tweak it a little bit. I eat the same stuff because my life is so chaotic.
Yes.
That these variables need to be controlled.
I love that.
I haven't got time to play around with the controls on these things that
and they work for
the control for my variables.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, exactly. That's so funny. Controlling these things helps me to control kind of, right? Did I say it right?
The other things so that I can then show up as my creative, energetic self.
Yes.
So I do things very like same thing every single time and it doesn't bother me because my life is so all over the place.
Oh my gosh.
And that's the key to any change. Repetition for plasticity, it doesn't care. It only wants repetition. We call it spike time independent plasticity.
So, you got to slow that down.
Spike timing dependent plasticity.
Okay.
If a neuron fires in succession or close to another neuron within a specific time frame, they will bond.
Wow.
They will bond.
That's so badass.
So you just do that enough times and they will become a thing. It'll become a habit. You'll become a runner. You'll become a guitarist.
Yeah.
You just have to do enough. If I do the guitaring enough times, I might stand a chance at being a musician. I mean, I don't plan to and I don't think I could do that because there are people that do that for a living that,
that's where if you want to pursue it.
But if I wanted to.
Yes, exactly.
I could.
Right.
I don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want to.
I don't think I have the talent innately all the way through to do that. But as an example, I could. And of course, there are some things that maybe you can't. You could never be Picasso. But I don't know. Give it a go. You never know.
Right. The repetition is so real. I mean, I'm just thinking about all the things in my life when you're saying this. I just think that's so cool.
It's getting the reps
in. Yeah.
They bond and then they create a pathway and then that pathway becomes automatic. It forms part of the memory templates that you know about life. I don't negotiate whether I'm going to the gym. I just go.
Right.
It's not even a thought because it's ingrained in my pathways that, I go in the car and I go to the gym. So many people turmoil with this, should I, shouldn't I? Remove that.
Remove it.
You're going.
Yeah.
The only thing you need to figure out is what time.
That's like a boundary with yourself, right? There's a lot of talk about boundaries and of course, boundaries with others, but I like to really, I think there's this whole other part to boundaries that is really important. Danae actually brought it up on our podcast as well, but even just like my boundary with when I'm going to bed at night, because I want to kick ass the next day and I want to feel good and I don't want to be dragging. So I have that boundary with myself,
out.
Yeah. I mean, now I don't even have a boundary. It's just my circadian rhythm. I'm like, good night. But when I was making those shifts, like there was a boundary. So I think people don't think about that a lot with, a boundary, or even if it's like, I'm not going to text the person because I've already, right? Boundaries with self are important.
Yeah. And just going back to like the sleep thing, for example, I get so many people who say, how do I go to bed earlier? It's just reps.
Yeah.
You just have to do it enough times. You do it for a month.
Right.
Your brain and body are going to be like, we need to go to bed at 9 o'clock or whatever time you've decided.
So true.
There's no negotiating about being on your phone at 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
Just don't do it. I know that sounds really crass and a bit like harsh, but
no, it's just true. It's straight up, you know?
need to put in enough reps the other way and force yourself through the discomfort until it becomes an automatic pattern.
But this comes back to the fucks, Nicole.
It all comes back to the fucks.
It all comes back to
The fucking tax man.
Because you have to care to be able to have that intention and then to actually put in, to put it into place, right? Whatever the thing is. Yeah. I mean, I could read the prose, but I actually, I have a couple of rapid questions, sort of like prompts.
Yeah. Because I think we're over, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry. I'm good. I don't even need to, I know how to, but now we're going to cut this out, but I'm going to bring it back.
Okay.
You and I can talk forever.
Yes.
And gratefully we will in this life between you and I.
Totally. I mean, we were talking to each other.
Yeah.
I was parked behind you on the phone.
So,
and I'm like, why am I?
Look at that. Look at parking. Oh, here, girl. Okay. We're still on the phone, but we're right next to each other.
I'm literally right behind you. Get out the car and say hi to me. I haven't seen you in like 6 months.
What a gift. Before I have some rapid sort of prompts that I'd like you to just,
Oh God. Okay, here we go. I've got my helmet on.
They're pretty gentle, but no, I just also want to say, look, it's such a gift to have opportunities to have conversations like this with you, to share with the world. But also, I do want to highlight this part that just, I love being your girl, and I love that I get to be your girl. And yes, it brings, a different energy when you're sitting down and you're podcasting, which I think is beautiful and fun. And
no, because, I was thinking I haven't really ever opened up about my relationships and stuff, and like how I show up in relationships and what my trust issues are and what my boundaries. I have never really discussed that. I'm always Nicole the neuroscientist that's given advice.
Right.
And I couldn't have chosen a better person to open myself up to the inner workings of my mind and how I think about things. And I do this sometimes on podcasts, of course.
Yeah.
But they generally come from a different angle where I'm the expert.
Right.
And of course, I'm still here to answer the neuroscience, but I've never really felt comfortable enough.
Yeah.
To be able to share what I'm going through personally right now.
Yeah.
With vulnerability.
Thank you. No, and
because
it's
of
such
you.
a gift. Thank you. Well, yeah. I mean, again, it's truly a gift, and that's not just an on record statement. I mean, it's truly how I feel in my heart.
Yeah.
Because it's very sacred. That vulnerability, that's intimacy.
Yeah.
Essentially, so it's like saying I can be this intimate with you, and also not just with us, because obviously there's so many people listening or watching, but it's just to hold this safe space to carry that intimacy and that vulnerability out into the world in a way where you can feel comfortable. And that's a gift for me, and really for everyone, because look, at the end of the day, this is not unfamiliar territory. We all experience, whether different stories, circumstances, but we all know what pain feels like. We all know what fear feels like. We all, joy too, and these things. So I think, again, hearing your story and your personal experience, the inner workings of what's happening, the scaffolding, the don't break your heart twice, the self-bond, tea with Satan, all of it, the elevator, like it's so powerful, because then I think it also just gives people permission to be human too, and to realize the human in them, but also to empower them, because you're showing that, hey, yes, I'm feeling this, I'm going through this, it's hard, it sucks, it's scary, and I know that I have agency, I have tools, and I'm activating that, and I'm utilizing this love that I have for myself to rebuild this whole new experience that I'm, moving myself through. And that gives people permission, like self-permission.
Yeah.
To do that in their own life. So there's just so much value. And so I love you. And now I'm gonna rock your world with some prompts, girl.
Okay, cool. I love that you said "and," by the way, instead of "but." You said all of that and that's the choice of words, because yes, and
yes,
not but. I love that.
I'm really big on that. The
Yeah.
but's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just doesn't.
Mine's interesting.
Yeah. The butt's really interesting. Full ass woman over here. So I like to call years chapters, and this is chapter 2025.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have a word, an energetic word for the year? If So why also?
For this year, unknown. A big theme for me has been to dive into the unknown.
Okay.
And accept and trust and all of that. So that's, part of my rescaffolding. But throw yourself into the unknown.
I love it.
There's a quote by Terence McKenna, and I wrote something similar in my book, but was inspired by him. And he says, throw yourself into the abyss and find out that it's a feather bed.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sexy. Unknown. Yeah. I love that. It's something about the you. Your self-promise.
I'm my own source of love and safety. Yeah. It's not really a promise, but it's still a promise that I can show up for myself.
Yes.
In that way. And I can build towards believing that innately all the way through to my core. Yes.
Your challenge. I mean, I know we talked about that, but if you had to put just like what's one.
Trust.
Yep. There you go. Yeah.
Trusting, not the process, because I do trust the process, but trusting. It's trusting.
Yeah, just trusting.
Trust. I need to
it's
trust.
Not easy. That's the core of my work. It's like, how do you trust more?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we did touch this. So your core desire, like something you want to manifest. We talked about like it's already
in
here.
LA.
Yeah.
Oh, not necessarily LA, but the US.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time in the US.
Yeah,
we want you here.
Yeah. I want to connect deeper as well.
Yeah. Deeper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've experienced such wonderful relationships in my life. I want to experience
more depth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Like the deepening of it all. Yeah.
Yeah, which
love it.
Goes in with trust. So it's actually a really nice.
Totally. Totally.
Dual.
Yeah, it's a package deal. Yeah. That's so you. I love it. You were releasing. We did talk about that, but you can, if you want to just.
I'm releasing. What did I say?
Or letting go of.
Yeah, what did I say?
Yeah, what did you say?
Well, I'm letting go of.
Control, the need for control.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm letting go of control. I'm letting go of some patterns that I seek out in relationships.
Yeah.
That's what I'm letting go of.
Love it. Bye.
Rescaffolding.
You are allowing.
Yes.
No, that's the next prompt.
Oh. I'm allowing myself to feel. I'm going through a very emotional period.
Yes.
And not, I think that people hear that and think, oh, she's crying a lot. No, it's just everything. I'm like, I see things. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Oh,
yeah.
I mean, I'm quite positive anyway. You know me. I'm always like, that's so nice. Everything's really nice. I'm like, that's so nice.
Well, I think it's just heightened sensitivity.
Yeah.
Because there's so much transforming. So it makes sense that you would.
So I'm allowing it. I'm inviting it. I'm accepting it. I'm like, what can we do with this as well?
Yes.
This is perfect material for my memoir.
It really is though. Girl.
I'm writing a lot.
That's
my journal everywhere I go.
I love that.
I mean, I always have my journal with me, but it's like, that
part of the brain is like,
oh my God, yes, I know exactly what I'm going to say. I think my problem now is transpiring it into content.
Say that again.
My issue is I need to transpire it into content.
Got it.
That's what I need to bridge.
Yep.
Yeah.
To make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will.
Because there's a lot.
Well, this is already a step, a beginning. Because I'm like really pouring my heart out on this podcast.
I know. I love your heart. Okay. The last one. You are loving.
I'm loving.
So it's a prompt like that.
I am loving. I'm loving. I mean, I always love my life. I'm loving the opportunities of life. I love life.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for life a lot.
I feel that often.
I'm very grateful.
I think we all do.
Oh my God, I had this moment with this. There was this video of this kid who was like doing Thanksgiving dinner. I don't know if you've seen it. And he's like crying. He's like, and sometimes.
I think I saw it on stories somewhere, but I had volume down. So I don't know if I.
It's like, and I'm just so grateful for everything. And he's like crying. And I said it to my best friends and they're like, that's literally you.
I think the magnetism that comes in gratitude is really special too. Like it's such an abundant energy and it really calls it's so much more than I'm just thankful. Like there's a higher frequency to that energy that actually really does a lot more than I think people realize, you know? So I think and you exude that. And that's why
thank you.
so much life comes out of you.
Oh,
It's so true.
Look, when I think I'm loving like the opportunity to have these conversations, the connections that I've been making. And it's like, they're all very purposeful,
Yes.
you know, add-ons to my life.
Yep.
Nothing I have right now is not serving me.
Yep.
I've been doing the shedding. You know, George and I are still friends, so I don't want to like talk about like I'm shedding him.
No, yeah.
But you know, it's even with that, I'm so grateful for that relationship as well, that I can call him if I need to.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, and that's
it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful because that shows to me that there's such a thing as unconditional love.
Totally.
You know, we're not in love.
Yeah.
But there's love there, and there has always been. We started out as friends. We're friends for a while.
I think that makes a difference. It was the same in my
totally.
Yeah.
And that love is there. I can call him if I need, and I like that too.
Yeah, because you don't love the idea of him, like the idea that you created of him. Oh, he's this, he's that. You actually love him as a human, and vice versa. He loves you as Nicole. And
I'm loving that we're both, even during this process, still on the same page.
That's awesome.
We don't want to be together.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Which I think that is actually, I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah.
Because I get to, because, you know, sometimes with the breakups, it's this dynamic, like, you don't want to talk to them in case they're like still wanting to get back together. And it's, you know, whereas like, no, we've removed that.
Yeah.
We can now be there for each other.
Yeah. Totally.
To some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You have so much happening that's so exciting, and there's so much coming up for you. So I love you. I am the most grateful. This is episode 2 with you and I, but so many more to come. And is there any sort of parting thoughts before we?
Just grateful for you.
I'm so thank you.
No, this like you rise me up every time. You raise me up. Come on,
we tamed ourselves so much for like people have no idea. The reality show is coming next.
I mean, I did talk about getting fucked by the tax man, so don't know how much censoring we did do. And then
I love you. Listen, everyone needs your book. Straight up.
Thank you.
No, really, like truly, if you want to feel better in your life, you want to know how to handle your emotions with mastery, you know, move through everyday experiences that we all go through.
But everyday experiences.
It's the everyday experiences. That's why it's so powerful. This is not just, oh, you have to be interested in this specific thing. No. If you're human, and I'm pretty sure you all are. And you have a brain.
I know when people ask me, they're like, who's the book for? I'm like, do you have a brain?
Yeah.
It's for you.
Exactly. Yeah, they need your book, Rewire, so you can get it everywhere, right? All the places.
Yes, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, McNally, whatever.
Nicole Neuroscience.
Yeah, Nicole's in Neuroscience with an S in there.
Thank you. All in the show notes. I'm just kind of going through.
Yeah.
Also, I love your Substack, so we're just putting that out there too. There's so many great things coming from you. So everyone who is not already dialed in, I know I don't need to direct them. They're like already signed up because they fucking love you. And I love you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for listening, you guys. Please like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating and review.